Hello, hello, hello.
Hey,
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Gaurav. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Wow, welcome, everyone, to our stream that is Power Up Data Project, episode 3. Today, we will continue the journey that we will build the brain, aka data modeling. Last episode, we focuses more on data cleaning. Today, we will continue that building the brain kind of journey with data, and we're gonna actually do more data modeling. Welcome, Gaurav. And how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. Tried to get a lot of new things done. Started working on a new coding project. This one, I'm working on building my own Git. So that one has been pretty interesting because I'm from a data science background, and understanding everything in computer science has been a little challenging. Or it has not been challenging, but it's a lot of new information that I'm not used to.
Wow, that's really interesting. Thank you, Gaurav, for sharing that. I'm actually curious because you're right. Git and then control versioning control is actually something that the data world needs to learn more from the software
Yeah.
engineering world. Software engineers have been doing version control with tools like Git or like Azure DevOps or all those DevOps tool
Yeah.
for ages. But it's actually not a huge thing on the data side yet. I recently saw there was Data Fabric trying to integrate some of DevOps in it. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish you all the best on that side project. And also excited to hear any development or questions you have had since the last time we met.
Yeah.
So a quick recap for our viewers. Um, Last time we worked on data cleaning, and Gaurav did a wonderful job cleaning the data, and we did live um, cleaning of some of the dirty data sets that we have. Um, and there was some homework that was assigned for Gaurav to explore, and they were mainly around how to start thinking about the business aspects of the data sets and how to form questions. So yes, Gaurav, please go ahead, take it away. Want to hear everything you have done and all the questions too.
Yes, sir. Um, I'm gonna start with the question first because it leads us back to two episodes before, and what a person in a data analyst or a business analyst part needs to do when there are This is we have here in this project we have eight CSV files. What if there's a project with thousands of CSV files with hundreds and thousands of columns in each um, CSV file? How would one analyze all of these files, and how would one manage all of these files? Because right in the previous one, I just ran a Python script just because it was eight files and about 4 to 8 columns in each file to understand any null values, object types. How would someone do that faster and on scale with thousands of files and thousands of columns where the same level of uh, efficiency and precision is needed, but obviously we won't have time to sit down and look through thousands of columns and thousands of files. It would take us months to do that. So how would I make it more streamlined and more fast?
Wow, I'm impressed. That is a wonderful question, and you're already thinking way ahead as someone who is data managing and also doing data strategy or at the corporation level. So here's my analogy. So we can understand this a bit easily. Okay. So they always call the process of data processing, data cleaning, collecting the data, cleaning it, and putting into a dashboard, providing insights. building model. That's the whole thing. They always call it data pipeline, right?
Yeah.
Where else do we see a pipeline? I would argue that would be a factory, for example, where there is literally a assembly line.
Yeah.
Uh, let's just say we're building a car. When you build a car, you as a car company, you're not gonna rebuild the tire. You're not going to rebuild the or mix the paints exactly, or create the paints, or create the plastic molding for the interior, right? Most of the time, in an assembly line at a factory, these parts already arrived,
Hmm.
and cars have thousands and thousands of parts. I think a car could have like 50,000 parts easily, right? And it's the same thing with data. And that's why a lot of time, like Azure, they call it data factory. It makes sense. It makes sense. That's because, yes, you're right. Um, at a corporate level, at the enterprise level, data are very messy. They come from many sources with multiple intention. It could come from CRM for customer information. It could come from a logistics software. It could come from an ERP system. It could come from an accounting system like QuickBook. It could also come from a software, a web app for selling. Maybe it could simply be Shopify
Yeah.
for sales transactions. And the credit card information could also come from a different place. Another scenario will make it a bit more challenging, maybe like um, a gasoline production company. They would have data coming from thousands of sensors in their factory to monitor the process, right? So all that to say, data come from many places with many sources, many complexity. So the only way that enterprise and corporates deal with it is that they create something called a medallion architecture. This means data can flow in into a centralized place.
Hmm.
Could be a lake house, could be a data warehouse, and when it gets to that level, data at the very first layer, it's called a bronze layer.
Hmm.
This layer makes sure that the engineer gotta clean the data well enough, connect it well enough, so that is when it gets to the centralized collection place, is 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 ready for the next step. Just think of it like the tire arrive at the factory. Right, we're not putting it together yet, but the tire is not just a tire. Right? It's got a wheel in it,
Yeah.
the brakes in it. Right, so just think of the tire alone is the bronze level, and the tire alone has like the rubber, the treads, right? All of that together already is the bronze layer. Now move up to the silver layer. That's when the tire is attached to a wheel, and
Yeah.
then the brake pads are attached to it, um, and maybe some special decoration. So now it's like a tire that's ready to be assembled onto a car chassis, right? And now go to the gold layer. Um, the tire is attached to the car. Now the car is specified, right? Not everyone going to use the same car. That car could be served for different purposes. Same in a corporate. So this architecture helped with that because someone from finance and marketing, they need certain data from multiple of these bronze sources, but they will go into the bronze layer first. They will find what type of sources make sense for them,
Hmm.
and they will ask the engineer, "Hey, can you pre-combine these in a way in the silver layer so that they just call it something like complete financial view?"
Yeah.
They a data person in the finance team or a business person in the finance team can go into the silver layer and request a data analyst, a business analyst, to enhance this silver layer even more so that it's exactly um, cater to their finance team.
Hmm.
This is because the financial view is not enough. Sometimes finance need to be connected to accounting. Sometimes finance need to be connected to marketing, and each of these already another silver layer. Yes. So um, I told really long story, but too long, don't read. TLDR. At the enterprise level, everything is centralized
Yep.
and structured in a hierarchy. Data could come in thousands of rows and thousands of tables, but when it reach the bronze layer, it needs to be somewhat manageable with very clearly defined names, business function, semantics. Some want to call they might call that, and nicely clean, so that it's ready for the silver layer, where multiple sources, raw sources that are pre-clean, are combined one more time, so that it's semi-ready for business functions. Now, in the goal layer, a business person or data person in that business team would then collect multiple of these silver layers together, stitch these pieces together, and create a goal layer that's specifically serve what they need. So in the end, um, what a business, what it should look like is at the very end, that finance team should not have multiple tables. There should just be one centralized table with all the necessary information that they need. So that's ideally, yeah, from multiple places, multiple table, down to just one distilled, clean, beautiful, ready to use, and ready to find insights from. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make sense. Um, I guess what we would call our what we have would be a silver layer, and for our our particular use case, based on what the business requirements are, we will turn it into a goal layer with what all columns we need.
Right. I think that's yeah, you're right. So let's make the connections between what we do here with the enterprise level. So right now we are not pulling these table. We just having them raw as a CSV. But imagine they should be a bronze layer from or silver layer from the data warehouse. Okay. So yeah, and most likely silver layers at this stage if it's already in this form. And it should be we should never like most likely not never like pull CSV down to a local machine and connect this way. We're just simulating what we would do, but imagine in the enterprise level, the CSV will be a live connection or semi-live connection from a data warehouse. And in the data warehouse, you can have data flow logics or some sort of an ETL logics to bring it together into the goal layer. Yeah.
No.
So yeah, you're right. We are now if let's imagine we're pulling these from a warehouse, a database, some source. These are similar to a silver layer, and we are trying to bring together to build a gold layer.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah,
That makes more sense. Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah, and just dive into the example that we're working in. Like the bronze layer would be that first connection, like from the data warehouse connecting to those main data sources. For
Yeah.
example, if you're using Data Fabric as your data platform, and you have a data lake, a data warehouse set up, then that warehouse need to have a connection, either live or semi-live. Could be a direct copy or like a real-time copy of the source data.
Okay.
Yeah, and that could be the bronze layer. Okay, so just this is a wonderful question. I'm really impressed, and thank you, Gaurav, for wonderful
Yeah.
questions. Yeah, and one caveat, interesting thing is that in at the enterprise level, they are two. I want to expand a little bit more. So most of the time, in a
Mhm.
very data mature enterprise, um, the entire pipeline should be hosted on the same data platform,
Okay.
and needs to be hosted on multiple spaces within the same warehouse or data lake. That would be ideal. And everything needs to probably should be run on cloud so that it can be processed quickly, and have the it can scale the resources to run these ETL can scale, so it doesn't get bogged down by just one local machine. Right now, we're doing the ETL on machine on our local machine, but at the enterprise level, it should be at the cloud level, scalable resource. Okay, and then another caveat is that in the enterprise level, what interesting thing is once each of the data team builds the ready to use silver layer or even gold layer, they would publish to something called data marts.
Mhm.
And in these data marts, they would write technical description, business descriptions, the description of each fields, and the business intentions behind these silver layer data products, so that any business user, any data person at the business team level can easily find out where the data is, where it come from, who to contact.
Uh-huh.
Um, there are other platform like Calibra, for example, where you can just like hit um, send to carts and collect that data to get authorizations. Um, so even the security and authorizations is centralized and centrally managed via these data marts tool. Very, very cool. And yeah, these sounds really
Uh-huh.
simple, but it's actually take a lot of efforts
Yeah.
to make sure this work at the enterprise level. Yeah, setting up all this take a lot of
Yeah.
work. Yeah, and you'll be surprised. A lot of the big enterprise, even the really big one, sometimes they have a really messy data landscape. Really messy. So that's a good news for us data people. Once you get in there, there's still a lot of needs for smart people to help figure this out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. That is pretty interesting. How things go and how we at we at well at our jobs it does not require us to deep dive into thousands of columns, and maybe if the job requirements are, but at my previous internships, I was at the I guess I was at the gold layer where we get the data ready for us and then we do the analysis. So it's interesting to see how the data flows from the bronze layer to like the gold layer.
yeah.
Uh, should we dive deep into the project and see what I
Good.
did?
Yeah, I would love to see. Show me what you got.
All
I'm
right,
excited.
let's see. Entire screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can see. Let me start sharing it so our viewers could see too.
All right. Um, so our first job was to let's find the table. Where is mine? Yeah. So we had one more table with two more null values. So that
Mm,
was our campaigns updated table.
okay.
The values are still null because I haven't just added them, but I have the step by step on what needs to be done. I just needed to cross validate it with you. Um,
Mhm.
we had two empty rows, two bundle IDs that were null, and we the only way we could find that was getting setting up different relationships from different tables. So we had campaign ID and bundle ID in campaigns updated, and after that we had product bundles where we had bundle ID and product category and then product ID. And after that, we had our sales process. Now here we had product IDs, we had our campaign ID, and with that we could, and we also had our well, category. Later added category. I'll get to that. But the way I did it was I filtered it by campaign ID. So let's see. We had 7 and 8 that was missing. So with that, I got all the product IDs in campaign ID 7 and 8.
Yeah, very good.
So and luckily enough, we had no product IDs um, that were in both 7 and 8, which made it easier for us to make an assumption.
Okay.
So after go to product bundles, I found the product IDs that were related to the bundle ID. So with that, I was able to find the bundle ID and then connect it to the campaign ID. So how I found that was we had product ID 100 in our campaign ID 8. So let's do 100. So through that, we found out bundle ID should be 9 if product
Okay.
ID is 100 and our category is electronics, which is a one-to-one relationship with our campaigns updated electronics, campaign ID 7. So bundle ID should be 9. So let's go back and product bundles. Let's do product ID 107. Or nope, not 107. Let me find that again. Let me categorize this by electronics. And in this, um, we have 103. So let me do 103. So we have product ID 103, bundle ID 3, electronics, and then we have product category as electronics. So let's go back. We have electronic, campaign ID 7, so bundle ID should be 3. So that's how I did the one-to-one relationship from sales process to product bundles and from product bundles to campaigns updated.
Okay. Yeah, directionally, that's very clever, and that is the intention. I wanna to guide you. I actually don't have the key to this one, so we will assume that that is correct. But I
Okay.
wanted to that's exactly the point was to guide you to think in this way. So sometimes when you clean data, you we do need to employ some sort of your raw intelligence because or just investigative skills. Uh,
Yep.
Not everything will be clean, even if it's like in the silver layer. So that's the idea,
Uh-huh.
and I think you have done exceptionally well here. You have taken in what we learned last time really well, and huge kudos to you. Very very good. So let's
Yeah.
assume one of it is bundle ID 3, right? And then the other is
Yep.
bundle ID. Um, is it 9? Right?
Yep. 3 and
Okay,
9.
very good. We will not be able
All right.
to update here, but we can update in the raw data set. And then we
So
simply just
let me
need
go
to
to
refresh.
transform data.
So this is one
Yeah,
way,
my,
but mhm.
yeah, my
in
laptop is trying its hardest. Its fan is running on full speed right now.
I can hear it. I can hear it, but that's okay. So for this exact scenario, I would recommend we make these edits in the raw data sets with your finding.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me go to the
Okay.
raw data set.
So let's give Gaurav a few minutes to do that. So at this stage, Gaurav, do you think is there anything else left to do in for cleaning?
Yes, and I've already done that. I will once I've made the edits, I will talk about that as well.
Okay.
This one was three. Not we will. Oh, it got all right. We got that done, and now I will go to what I did next. Was in region hierarchy. We had two columns. One was region, and one was division, and both meant the same thing. And to maintain consistency over all the data tables, I took out division. So now we have region in all the tables.
Right. Okay. This actually, I would recommend that in the future. Um, no, no, not in the future, but in the real world, I would go check with the business stakeholder at the end. Like, do they want to see division? I do recognize, like, when I provide this hierarchy, I did not break into subdivision of like a sub region, but
Yep.
that was the intention. So there would be one layer below the region, so there could be like multiple division. But in this case, it was one to one. So it's fair that you make this assumption, but just for our viewers and also for you in the future reference, this is the type of question that we should ask the business team. See if they actually need it or not. Once they say, yeah, it's always one to one, our company doesn't have a subdivision yet, then yes, well, it's fine. Go ahead and delete, right?
Why did it not get updated?
I saw it was earlier, right?
Yeah. Um,
Did you refresh it by any chance? Save and
yeah,
close.
I did. Oh, let's see. How would I refresh in here?
Okay, so we go to transform data.
Oh, okay. So I'm already in transform data, and
Okay, we check the source, make sure that we are collecting
oh,
from the right source.
oh, I
So
did
under
do this last time.
oh, look like yeah, it looked like it worked.
Yeah, it worked last time. I don't know why it did not work in here.
Okay. Sometimes it might require a refresh at this level.
Uh,
So you see there's a refresh button next to transform data. It's really just to display again. But technically, at this stage, if you run any calculation, it should pull. It will rerun this refresh if you configure your options right. Mhm. Yeah. So let's give it a second. Okay. So after this, we will go into actually data modeling, and that is just go to the data model view of Power BI and set some sort of connections between the tables.
okay. I did that as well.
Wonderful. I want to see what you got there. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
All right.
So for the data modeling part, as I understood, we needed the facts table in the middle,
Mm-hmm.
which by what facts table, what my understanding of the facts table was, this is the most important table for us to build our dashboards because this is the table that will help us that helps us understand what the business requirements are and what we are doing based on the business problem.
Okay.
So I made different connections with different columns and different tables, such as our region. We had one-to-one relationship in tax rates and region hierarchy,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
for our source process and sales process, we had store ID one-to-many.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we had more relationships like that. We had one-to-many in tax rates and source process. We can also see all of our um, manage relationships. There it is. Our relationships in years. So we had. Let me expand. Oh, I cannot expand this. Okay. But we had several one-to-many relationships between our different tables, and a singular one-to-one relationship. Now, what I understood from my readings is when there's, we should be able to connect our different tables to our fact table, but our tables with many to many relationships, we should, it is an important part that we do not do many to many relationships because it can lead to many performance issues and it increases our complexity of our model.
Right. Absolutely.
So which also indicates our data has not been properly normalized.
Hmm.
So therefore, this table right here, product bundles, is not connected to our fact table because between product ID year and product ID year, it would have been a many to many relationship because a single product ID can be in multiple bundles.
Okay.
Um, Other than that, I changed our calendar table to as our date table. I assumed more, and also the other things I also did, other than adding different relationships, was add a couple of columns in our sales process. So I did a couple of left joins. So we had the one most important thing we needed was to understand. One of our business problems was to understand how how much money we are earning or how much revenue we have in different regions.
Okay.
So,
Actually, before we move on, let's
uh,
go back to the view, if that's okay.
yep,
Okay. So let me bring up an idea that we brought up at the end of last session. That was star schema, and you're right. Yes, in star schema, things should be in the middle, the facts, right? And the other one are supporting tables that providing the dimensions to give context, to give information about these facts, these transactional facts. So you are doing great. I would think that yeah, this is pretty good. This yeah, it's almost ready to use. However, there was a you're right. Also, was the many we should avoid that. In general, the fact should be there should be a lot of rows there, but the
yep,
supporting tables with dimensions, with supporting information shouldn't have any repeating information. Meaning, the information there should be each of the rows should be unique. So
yep,
that if that's the case, when we say for product bundle, when we connect it with the sales process, it shouldn't be, and it doesn't have to be a one-to-one. I'm sorry, a many-to-many. That is because, based on the name, the hint here is actually this table is about product bundle, not product ID,
mhm,
right? And bundle
yep,
here in this product bundle, is it? Do we have a unique row for each bundle? And so it's
yep.
just
We have
information.
a unit. There, we will go here and make sure.
Yeah.
Yep. We have well, we have multiple bundle IDs as well.
Right.
That would also.
But each of the bundle have uh, exhaustive sets
Yep.
of products, right? So
Yeah.
by whenever I say unique or distinct line here, I means the combinations of all the fields of that each of the row needs to be unique, right? So it's okay to have bundle one repeating 4 times,
Mhm.
uh, and but as long as each of them tell us that bundle ID include all four of these product ID, right?
Yep.
If it repeats one more time that product bundle ID one and then product ID 117 again one more time, then yes, that is not that's not good. We got to make sure we clean that. And there's a way that we do clean it here in Power BI too. Um, but so go back to the view. This means This table here is actually assisting the product ID information. It's just to tell us what bundle ID uh, include, which product are included in each of the bundle ID. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a many to many. It can be a one to many here actually, and uh, I would suggest connecting bundle ID with the bundle ID in these two tables. Okay.
Okay, so sales process does not have a bundle ID, but we can connect campaigns updated with product bundles. Both of them have bundle IDs.
Right, exactly. And there's a reason why they call it star schema, right? And now it kind of looked like a star. It kind of looked like a
Yes,
star. Okay.
and we have product bundles, campaigns updated. Um, this one also has a many-to-many relationship. Um, Cross direction. Should I still go ahead and create this relationship, which is a many-to-many relationship?
Uh, Wait, hold up. What? Where are we? Okay, our campaign updated. Okay. This is the campaign. Uh, mm, Hold up. Sorry. I'm kind of lost. Where are we? Okay, I see what you mean. Give me one moment here. Let me check my documentation. Okay. Okay, I see. For now, let's agree with this, and we will troubleshoot it more in a bit. Okay. Let's be, yeah. Let's call that we're okay with that for now. For now. Okay. So just quick review on the star schema. So in star schema, we normally identify what is a primary key and what is a foreign key. Right. So just a main idea here. In the facts table here, our for us is the sales process. What is the primary key?
In sales process, our primary key, we do not have a particular primary key. We have, mm, let me go to store process because I, sales process, let's see.
Mhm. Yeah. So then is the next topic I want to bring up is uh, not all of these tables have primary key set.
Hmm?
So right now, what happened here is sales process. The primary key should be a unique key that identify the sales transaction.
Yep.
Yeah, and we don't have that right now.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that is my recommendation. We will initialize this. Normally, there should be a sales transaction ID
Yep.
defined by the source system. In this case, we don't have it. So The key there was just we identify this issue and we will create this primary key. So let's go to data transformation for this table. We will initialize a primary key. Okay, so basically this is called indexing, right? So we just need to add a column, and
Mhm.
in this column, we will just index. We add an index column basically. So if you go to add column, yeah, you will see index column as one of the option there. Yeah, choose the drop down. Yeah, and see. So here ask from 0 to 1 or from 1 or from 0. So depending on the convention that you're used to. Right? If you write Python, the indexing start at 0, right? So since you used some Python code earlier, I would
Yep.
recommend let's use from 0. And if you choose by customs, then that will help us create like a specific certain, where do we start, for example, and then initialize from there. That can be really useful.
So why do we have so many empty? Oh,
It might take some time to load. Yeah, I mean, thing with
okay.
transaction data is yeah, a lot of time you see empty, but it doesn't mean it's not useful. Right? Okay,
Yep.
perfect. So right now you got a primary key. So nice work. So we're gonna go through one by one. So for the mention table, right, the primary key should be the calendar. I mean, the
Oh,
calendar.
calendar.
Yeah. What should the uh, primary key here be?
We have date.
Date.
We have.
You got it. Yeah, dates. Dates primary in this.
Yep.
So one tip is to find out if it is a primary key is it unique? Date's unique,
Mhm.
and secondly is if that key will be representative enough of the rest of the fields. And the answer
Yep.
is also yes, because we see 1/1/21. We know which year, which month, which day is from, and then from there we can derive which weekday and which quarter. Right. So we got it. Calendar. We do have primary key as date. Very good. So and then next we have the customer
Count.
table. Oh, campaign. Okay,
Campaign.
campaign. Let's do okay, campaign. So campaign. Which one do you think will be the primary key?
The campaign ID.
You got it. You got it. Next we have the product
We
ID.
have.
Okay. I'm sorry, the
Yep.
product button. So which field here is the primary key?
For product bundles, we have our primary key as product ID, which it should be bundle ID, but we have different types of bundles.
So actually, the bundle ID is the primary key in here. Yeah, it's very interesting, right? But
Mhm.
yeah, bundle ID it can be used as the primary key here because it can give us the information to derived from there. Okay,
Okay.
so just in theory. Okay, and now products. We got products process. Yeah, for
In
products,
our
which
products
one?
processed, we have product ID as our primary key.
You got it. You got it. And then next one, region.
We have region ID.
Okay,
We
region
created the index for
ID,
this.
region hierarchy. Region hierarchy should be. Um,
Um,
okay, I see. Yeah, good. Hmm.
in our stores process, we have store ID.
Okay, store ID.
In
Very
our
good.
tax rate, we have region.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Okay,
right?
wonderful. Let's continue. I think at this stage, this model is ready, is semi-ready. Yeah, I think we can start building, and then from there, I just want to show our viewer that it's okay. That sometimes you set a model, you might, and then you start building, but then a certain point you might realize the model is not optimized, and it's okay to go back and optimize. And it's so much easier now with tools like Power BI, right? So I would call this pretty good. Nice job. I great work from your homework, work from home, uh, connecting this data model together. Great work. Any questions for this process?
Not for now. I don't have any questions related to what we did, but I did have some questions in our sales process table. Um, Once
Yeah.
it loads, I'll show you. So I don't know why I put out a transform data. My more questions was from why it wasn't transform data. I'll just go back there. Um, our oh wait, before I go to our next part, my question was: Are we? Do you think we are good to start building?
Yeah, I'm thinking this model is good to start building the and designing. So I'm thinking after this we will go into some main design ideas and expectation from the fictionary business owner and
Yep,
business people. I will give those guidelines, and then we can end the call and the sessions, and then next time we can see what beautiful dashboard you got for us. Would
sounds
that
good.
work?
So a couple of things I have are what are different columns I've added. My questions are related to more columns that I want or need to add, and some of the business questions I've formed. So I'll start with business questions, and based on these business questions, I've added some columns.
Okay.
So some business questions that I formed were, what is the total amount of tax collected per region? So um, how much tax we have collected in different regions by different stores. We
Mhm.
have I can so it could be finding stores with maximum profit and the least amount of profit. What product categories um, are sold the most over different regions. We have to find sales over time, which will help us predict seasonality, which will help us predict inventory management.
Mhm.
Most frequently returned items, which can help us understand what are areas we need to improve on, and what are the most efficient product bundles or different campaigns that generate the most revenue.
Wonderful. Okay.
Based on these questions, some of the tables that are formed are in sales process, which are I made. So I added the store processed from the store process table. I added region, which it because it did not exist in our table. The second one I added was the category, which was not in this table,
Hmm.
and the other ones I added was cost, price, and tax rate percent. And based on these three, I added a price after tax, which I calculated based on the price column over here and our tax rate percent over here. The
Okay.
basic calculation I did was I calculated tax and added it to our price amount.
Okay.
So
That's wonderful. Yeah. Sorry. Keep going.
the, the next question I had was I needed to calculate gross revenue, net revenue. But before I did that, my question to you was, what is this revenue table in here? Because this revenue table right now does not make sense to me because based on here, I did let's if I did the calculation on product price before and after tax and subtracted it with cost. With, let's assume this will be about $21. I'm assuming it's in dollars.
Yeah.
And if units sold are six, it should be 120, 21 into 6, let's assume is going to be around 126. But the revenue here is 2029. But even if we multiplied 40 by 6, it's going to be 240, which is way different than our revenue 2029 year. So I did not know what this revenue was and what columns I would use to calculate our gross revenue and net revenue.
Yeah. Actually, you arrived at the next issue I want to point out. That's why I said we can go back to the model to
Yep.
optimize. Is that here's the issue. So really, really, first of all, really great work with all the business framing and the business questions. And you're very like I'm really impressed. This is great that you found the issue. This data sets was created artificially. Number one, with the thing in mind is that to illustrate that not most of the time, many cases, when you pull data from system, especially for the derived results, is never gonna be fully correct.
Hmm.
Here's the reason: when you pull from sources, let's say the data engineer team mess up at the bronze layer, the revenue could be messed up because in the source data set, this revenue could be pulled from some sort of a bill of material. It could be bill, uh, could be a scan documents from contracts,
Yep.
or it could be grouped at a different hierarchy. This could be the price before promotion, special promotion. This could be the price without the contract negotiation. Okay, so the key thing is we got to find out why it, first of all, always never assume the result of tamming a thing with another table will equal what the source table says.
Yep.
So the source table we can believe up to store ID, product ID, and unit sold, right?
Mhm.
But the revenue is one of those fields that are like dependent on what how the source processed that information. We would find out if the revenue was truly accurately calculated. So a
Yep.
good practice in our team, in my team, in real world, is that for any of these real calculated fields that depends on a variable like units, like tax,
Mhm.
if there's no other additional information, we always assume that the source information is invalid. Here's the reason why. When you build a dashboard, sometimes when you sum the revenue, it will give an incorrect number if the embedded calculation in revenue is incorrect, right?
Yep.
So always build your own calculated field
Okay.
for the key information. Or at least if you trust the source enough, still double check with your calculation, with the business provided calculations for that metrics. Okay, so let me summarize a little bit. You found a key issue here, and it's a key lesson in many real world scenarios. When the data team pull bronze layer, they could mess up bad, mainly
Mhm.
because of two things. Data was pulled at a different hierarchy. There was not there was another information that is missing. For example, maybe this revenue come from a contract. We don't know if there was negotiation. We don't know if there was tax break.
Yep.
We don't know if the promotions had special deals on it, even that is unannounced. We don't know that, right?
Yep.
So always we will recalculate this. We never assume revenue is correct right away. We have our fair assumption of units sold. And then from there, we calculate. There are stories of data people, even at the level of they building the goal layer, they would find out issue in accounting software. And this raised the idea of, as a data person, always be skeptical,
Yep.
always be cognizant of your numbers, of the numbers you're dealing with. Um, Only the lazy one would assume that everything's already correct. I don't care. I just want to
Yep.
build and I'm done. No, actually, you can do that and then go back, double check. And here you have found out, one of the key issue. I was hoping that I could save this toward the end, and then we have like, oh no, emergency issue, and then we can have a fire drill, and I
Yeah.
will be like a business person. I don't think the number add up, and then you have to go find the issue. But this is really cool. You have found out the issue. So here's my recommendations when you work on this. Continue for continually tonight, next this week,
Mhm.
and our next call is. Oh yeah, for these main metrics, there's not a lot of them. I think revenue is one of the main one. Always ask the business people what is the primary logic for calculating that key metric.
Yes, sir.
All right. So huge kudos, amazing, amazing, amazing. And let me provide that so our user also have. Okay, let me write this down. So the revenue, the true revenue formula is always units sold time the price of that unit plus the tax rate, appropriate tax rate, right?
Yep.
And we gotta pull it from multiple table, and then we're gonna have. I don't think I provided discount rates for the bundle, right?
No.
No. Okay. I think that let's just keep it simple like that.
Yeah. Right now, we have cost, price, and then we had the tax percent. Based on that, I calculated the price after tax. So I'm assuming our growth. So based on what you said gross revenue is going to be price after tax multiplied by units sold,
No,
and
tax always calculate at the end. Don't tax at the beginning. Yeah.
oh wait, I'm so sorry. Say that one more time, please.
Always when we deal with tax, do that at the very end. So meaning we sell, let's say we sell six at the price of two. That's
Yeah.
12, right? Then we gotta calculate the 12 on top, a tax on top of that $12 earn. I don't know how you set the
Oh,
here for price
I
after tax.
see. I see. So instead of calculating price after tax per product, I need to see calculate it after total number of units are sold. So if price is 36.57 and number of products sold are four, for example, this would be 145, and then price after tax would be 145 times 8.0825 plus 145.
Right. And so this is the tax rate pulled from the tax table, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I here my recommendation is have a field that just calculate the tax amount.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're doing the right thing here. You have the process price. The process price is the unit sold time the price, right?
The the price after tax.
Price of the product
So
from
the price of the product was brought in from the product's processed table with the
very good.
one-to-one connection with the product ID.
Okay, but that's for ID alone, right? That wasn't time in the unit sold yet.
Yep, I haven't considered unit number of units sold yet.
Okay, so I would recommend renaming that field to per unit. So per one unit,
Price per unit.
hmm process price, but per unit, and then have another one that's called the actuals um, calculated with units sold accounted for, right? So we take that process price you pull in from product table, time the unit sold,
Uh-huh.
and then next field would be have a field to calculate the tax amount on top of that, on top of the actual price. Okay, that the actuals. I'm sorry, actuals revenue that you calculate. So just the tax amount, and then at the very end will be the entire price. Like what was the price after tax included?
All right. And price of okay, price after tax would be number of units sold times price per unit
Mm-hmm.
times our tax rate percent.
Right.
Yep.
But yeah, I say plus tax rate, but that tax rate time the unit sold and the price earlier, right?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
need to be
And
careful with how I write this so we don't create confusion. Yeah, so I suggest creating a multiple few more fields. Okay,
uh-huh.
right. So let me spell that out for our user. So we're gonna have a price per unit pulling from the uh, product table. People can find us in chats, okay? So the viewers can find it in chat. Okay, so price per unit, which you already pull in, and then next you will find um, just the normal revenue before tax. Okay, after I write all this, I will also provide one more caveat. Okay. So we will take the units sold, TAM, price per unit from above. Okay, so that's two column, and then the third column will be tax amount, which would be the tax rates, TAM, the ref before tax. Okay, and then final ref will be ref before tax plus tax amount. Okay, so just four more fields. Right? Sounds complicated, but it's not. Um, so I want to provide two caveats here. So as a data person, be cognizant, be aware,
Uh-huh.
always be skeptical. Number one. Number two, um, when we do calculation, there are two ways. We either do it in the data model level, which is what you're doing here, or we can do it at the dashboarding level, the story level. There are advantage and disadvantage to both. In general, I recommend doing in the model first. If the data is transactional and you can pull information per transaction, then do it in the model so that the end user, when they interact with the dashboard, is much faster for them.
Yes, sir.
Drawback is that it might, if you run on cloud, it might take a little bit more compute.
Yep.
So it might cost a little bit more, but I think it's worth because make everyone, the user, the actual user, enjoy the dashboard a bit more. That's always worth it. If you build a dashboard, um, the advantage is so easy to interact. Well, you don't have to do all this pre-thinking.
Yep.
If we build at the dashboard level, we don't have to do any of this. We when we get there, we start to think. If the business user asks for tax rate, then we will literally just type out this formula in DAX, and it will calculate right away. So it's easier for us as data people to imagine, right? So another suggestion is if you are building a dashboard for the first time, you don't have an idea how to model. It's okay to build a calculation in the dashboard first, but eventually to optimize, bring it to the model.
Okay.
Okay. So I think that is a wonderful findings that you have here, and you have done exactly what is expected for the next step already. I want to also provide our viewer with one more idea is that modeling and dashboarding, don't think of it as two steps that are separate, right? Sometimes they are, you can switch back and forth between the two. I don't say they are interchangeable, they're not, but they build on top of each other. So sometimes is there will be never a case where you finally built a model, it's finally done, let's start dashboarding. Most of the cases will be like you build a primary model, you go to build the dashboard, and then you found out, oh, the model is not perfect yet. Go back to the model, adjust it, and then go back to the dashboard, optimize, and back and forth until you have a beautiful data product, a fast model, and a fast and beautiful story. And make sure everything is accurate too. Okay, so we are approaching the 1 hour mark, and we are at 1 hour 7 minutes actually. So I would love to end the stream in a few minutes here.
Mhm.
And so I would like to provide a few guidelines on how to build this dashboard. Just a design idea, okay? Because the business ideas, I think you have down. I think start with those business idea first. I just want to give our viewer how to build a dashboard in general, of what I expect. Okay. Okay. So let me 1 second. Let me create a page here. Okay. For this one, we will be drawing it out on a whiteboard. So hang tight while I set this up. Oh, my online whiteboard is having some issue, so I'm just gonna use good old paint. It will do for now. Okay, let me make sure our viewer can see. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen here. And it's just a paint screen. Okay, you see
Yep.
it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, sweet. Okay. All right, let's test this out. Do-do. Paint. Okay. All right, we good. Okay, so when it comes to dashboarding, I would jump right into templates or like outline, the standard outline. Okay. I can guarantee you, most school who teach data science or data analytics will not teach you this right away. Most likely
Yep.
they would just go theory, but then they probably never talk about this. But it shouldn't be something that is mysterious or academically heavy. It should be something very fun. It's UI, UX, it's design. So,
Yep.
basic idea of a dashboard, it should be um, interactive. Number two, it should scale with device dimension. Okay. Okay. So this one is a little bit tricky. If your tool allow, then build something like a dynamic uh, story or dashboard. I'm going to write DB here, but that's not database, that dashboard. If your tool does not allow, let's say the tool sucks, like if it doesn't have this functionality,
Yep.
your dashboarding tool of choice does not allow for scalable uh, the dashboard, then we would build something called a static non-scroll, meaning if you don't know if the tool has ability to fit a laptop screen into a phone or a laptop screen into an iPad,
Hmm.
is not a bad idea. Just build something that is static but non-scrollable, meaning uh, the user don't have to scroll left or right. It's just that is all they can see.
Yep.
Uh, then that's my recommendations. There were many other variation of these kind of recommendation, but this is mine personal. Okay. All right. Now let's go into how the dashboard should look. In general, there should be parts to it. Okay. So in the very top, I'm gonna draw a laptop screen here. It's not very pretty, but we'll do. Okay. Let's say this is the dashboard. I'm not talking about the whole like X, Y, enlarge and minimize button here. Let's just think this is the dashboard. Here are the items that they would expect. So number one, there should be some sort of a title here. The title could be a little bigger here, let's just say. Okay. And then here it could be some additional information like dates. Some here could be like version. You can add some more additional fancy stuff like who is signing in, like a signing in user,
Hmm.
if you want. And then in the middle, you can always change all this all around if you want, right? So sometimes you can put a logo up here, but yeah, here you can put the logo. Okay, so that will be the top. Okay, and the title can go across the like that, and then the logo will be the logo of your divisions or your company. Okay, now we go into the actual um, part here. So When building dashboard, also I recommend building lanes, so that meaning a container. So all the
Mhm.
elements belongs to that specific container. Okay. So always, I mean, each tool has different ideas. They could call it a container. They could call it a box. They could call it lane. But I'm tool agnostic. I don't care. This is just general idea. So this first lane should usually be quick access tiles with metrics in them. So any business leader can come in here and quickly identify their business health. Okay, and let me label them. So these I call quick info. So they can see the business health very fast, very, very fast. And so normally all the main KPI, all the main metrics, put it here. The user should be able to find this within seconds. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Now in the main section here, I will put the filters here so the user can pick and dissect the information. Okay. There's filters. Okay. So let me label that.
I have a question.
And the
Uh,
filters. Oh yes, graph. Yeah.
So, would you be able to
Yes.
take out the comments from the YouTube because I think those are covering the dashboard.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Which comment? Let me see. Oh,
So,
okay. That's a great point. Thank you. Thank you. Like that, right?
yeah,
Oh, I didn't know. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Any questions so far
No,
for the dashboard guidelines so far? No? Okay.
it looks.
So a lot of the time, most people don't have an idea how to design, right? So I
Mhm.
hope this guideline will provide some sort of an idea
Oh,
to start because, yeah,
sorry, I don't know why I said I have no questions. I have a question. So,
yeah.
how do you determine? So, right now, I have the data. People like following right now, they have the data, they have their own personal data. In real world or in real projects, when I'm given the ownership of the project, what is the best way to determine the KPIs or like or the metrics? What are the best KPIs? So, for example, if I'm building a machine learning model, sometimes RMSE score might be the best way to might be the best KPI metric. And what is the best way to figure that out based on our data?
There's no real way to do it. But most of the chance, the key would be whatever measure fields, the primary measure field pull in at the silver and bronze layer. Usually, those are good indicator of if it's an important metrics.
Mhm.
Okay, but in general, the short answer is go ask, and
Yeah.
go ask the business people to find key metrics. Yeah, but in this case, for our specific project here, you can assume the one you identify all the key metrics already. So
Mhm.
revenue before tax, revenue after tax, and then information on how many campaign we're running at a time, how they doing, each dollar campaign, how they doing.
Uh,
Okay, and then other silly number, less important number like how many products we're selling at once, how much transactions average per day, average revenue per day. Okay. I can update the Google Doc to identify some of the key metrics, but for for this first pass, let's just say at least it should have revenue,
Uh-huh.
revenue before tax, revenue after tax, count of products, count of store, average sales per day, average sales per store per day also. Okay. And with those metric, we can build some, there will be some must have charts in here that I will lay out right now.
Yep.
Okay. So the filters could go like all the way here. And my recommendation is always set a background color.
Mhm.
And then um, for each of the charts and table, make sure you create somewhat of a distinction, a different color background, or a frame around it. Okay.
Okay.
So I would always put the name of the first charts, and then the most important chart right up front. It could be multiple charts. That's okay.
Mhm.
Uh, and then there should be a space in between these charts and information, but don't go overwhelming with the charts, right? Just enough.
Yep.
Okay, and then at the very bottom, this is my must-have. So these are would be charts and tables. Okay, and at the very bottom, I usually include. Actually, I shouldn't write table, but mainly prioritize graph first. Depend on your business. Some businesses will prefer to see tables in here too, but I will put charts and graph up here,
Mhm.
and then one detail uh, table down here. Okay, so the detail table would be that goal layer table of the sales process. The view
Mhm.
that would have to, the most inclusive view should be here,
I
meaning
see.
it should have data that we already process and pull in. And the key is wherever they click, everything needs to be linked.
Right.
Everything needs to be linked, including the filters, and then points to point for selection. For example, if you select something in the chart, that should filter the detail table. Everything should be linked like that.
All right.
So points, click, linked. It's very important. Make sure also the filter important here is that it will linked to. Oh, that looks really bad. Let me write it properly. Link to all referencing table. Add necessaries. By this I mean all the tables in the model.
Yep.
Okay. For those who don't know what it means yet, we'll find out when we get there. Okay. Okay. So some must have charts here. I want to see a chart that will rank the region. I will not tell you which type chart you will use, but your choice. Rank the region. Okay. And then number this will be uh, rank the products sold, like by how many we sell. Rank the products, and then show distribution of what we sell, and then some campaigns effectiveness. Okay, so some suggestions. It could be for distribution. I normally use a pie.
Mm-hmm.
For ranking, use a vertical bar or a horizontal bar. Okay. And then tables, we all know, right? So just table with columns and row. Okay. I think that's enough for the guideline. Any questions here?
Uh, Now, you said
I mean, just imagine, right? Just looking at this. Yeah, go ahead.
so for the campaign effect, um, we are trying to understand how much revenue each campaign is generating.
Right, right. So we should have some sort of a way to rank those campaign.
Okay.
Give quick information on like which day it ran from, and then
Mhm.
the leader can quickly see uh, how much it generate,
Sounds good.
and then perhaps which category that it prioritize in. Okay, okay. So this would be the basic dashboard layout. Next time we will see if we have this, and then if not, we will work on it. And then later we will learn about build multiple pages. So page one, two, three later.
Hmm.
Okay. So we can build advanced information on this. We can build predictive analytics on this. Some source of a time series forecast, like you say. I love how you mentioned seasonality earlier.
Hmm.
We will find a way to process that if we get the chance to get there. Okay. But I hope this give you an idea of how to build this dashboard.
Sounds good.
I'm highly allergic to any interns that go into my role, the role that we hire, and then slap together just three charts and graphs and call it a dashboard. And then I ask them why, and they say this is what they learn at school. Uh, and I don't want to say school name, but they could come from pretty prestigious school, and they still do this. They can
Yeah.
talk to you all day, every day about how model, how to join, but their dashboard skill is
Yeah.
not there. But guess what? We can learn. We can all learn to do better dashboards, right? So
Yeah.
let's end our call here. We have 2 minutes left. I'm gonna start queuing the outro. Okay, last 30 seconds. Lightning round. Any other ideas, questions from you, Gaurav?
Right now, I think it's a good idea for me to start building a basic dashboard and then go from there based on the business understanding. And while I build that dashboard, I will have an understanding for myself of what are the different things that could could enhance the dashboard, and what are different metrics that may help the business that may help the stakeholders understand um, our data better.
I love it. Yeah, I agree. And I have no doubt you'll do amazing. You are continuing to impress me, and I love it so, so much. Thank you so much for your time and patience and dedications to go through this project. We are halfway there. Two more
Yes,
sessions, and we will see our final products. It should be really fun. I really look forward to it. Once again, thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, everyone who's watching. Have a wonderful day. I will see you next time in episode 4. Thank you.
that's right. You as well. Bye bye.